Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Olympia Soiree in Cordoba's route. We are just started it, kind of. We're in the second chapter. We're probably gonna hit the third chapter soon. So anyway, yes, maybe we'll see. Doma, where are you? Anyway, medicine. It's not that I want to talk to him, but I wonder what I can learn about that field. Maybe there's a good book about it. After finishing my meal, I was looking for a good book to read when I heard a sudden noise in the corridor. Oh.
Master Doma, our noble has contracted Haku.
Again. The muffled words piqued my curiosity, and I pressed my ear against the door.
What should we do regarding treatment?
The usual.
As you wish, so we will refrain from resorting to... Nay?
What did the afflicted say? Can't quite do Doma's voice right now.
And that he would rather die than be painted in black.
Very well, then.
Understood. I will contact the hospital right away.
Nay, what is that? And...
that he would rather die than be painted in black.
That doesn't sound good at all. Oh, there you go. What? Okay. Tokijiku Tanne? Tokijiku Tanne. That was, look, that came up too fast and I was like, I gotta pause, that's a long word. Well, ne is a separate one, but Tokijiku Tan. Tokijiku Tan? Tokijiku-tan. Nay. Okay. That's what the title of this chapter is. Look. It takes a hot minute. You're like, what? Anyway. That's whatever I'm gonna guess that guy was... But, like, it's gonna come up and we're gonna have to say... Tokijiku-tan-ne a lot in this part. Fuck. Anyway. What I heard yesterday is still bothering me. Maybe I can ask Akaza and Kuroba about it before I head to Yomi. Tokijiku-tan. It's actually more fun when you say it a couple times and you can say it. I'm not going to run in the corridor today. Good day, Mr. Director. Do you have a moment? Come in. He sounds like he's in a bad mood. Maybe I came at the wrong time. God, I cannot wait for Akaza's route. I froze the moment I stepped inside. The mood in the air and both their expressions were very grave. I'm sorry. Should I come back later? You're more than welcome here. What's up? Did you come with another good idea? I shook my head slightly. I actually heard something odd at the manor, so I was hoping I could discuss it with you two. The manor? Is there a problem? I don't think so, but late last night a messenger came to Doma. I heard him say that someone would rather die than be painted in black. Oh, this time it was definitely my fault. I could immediately tell the mood went from bad to worse. Like, look at frickin' Kuroba's face. I'd never seen these two like this before. And Kuroba, I have something to do, so I'm heading out. Huh? He's like, you explain it to her. Your turn to deal with this one. I must have said something wrong. Akaza's just being kind. He left for my sake. What do you mean? Akaza's sudden departure and Kuroba's warm smile weren't connecting. And now that you're here, let the good Dr. Kuroba teach you a lesson. I felt I had gotten myself into trouble, but I wasn't in a position to politely decline. He took a blank piece of paper from the top of Akaza's desk. Tokijiku-tan? Tokijiku-tan, a medicine used to treat Haku that proves effective 50% of the time it is administered. So maybe because so like it sounds like Haku, you start bleaching, like you lose your color. But then maybe this medicine, because like you said, painted in black, and like they look at down on Kuroba's class. Like, they're just the lowest, even lower than, like, the rainbow people, which is just... Oh, well, you're, like, pure color, but, like, you're the trash above the trash, which is just fucking rude, but that's just kind of the way this island works, right? So when he said painted in black, I was like, maybe he's talking like he doesn't want to be, like, treated by Kuroba or something. But now I'm wondering if this medicine, like, oh, well, see, because, like, Haku, you start to, like, lose your color, which you think would be good, because, like, hey, we're all pasty-ass white, right? But, like, maybe it, like, by painted in black, it means it turns them, like, more toward, like, color-wise, like, the black class, and then they're like, oh, I don't want that. Oh, it'd be horrible. Would you rather die? I mean, I don't know, sometimes it'd be like, I'd rather die than, like, lose a limb, because, like, I don't think I could handle that. Or, like, well, then you're gonna go blind. Nah, just kill me. I'd rather die than live like a vegetable. I mean, everyone's got their, like, line, right? But, I mean, and if you're one of the, like, the red, the yellow, or the blue, you are so uppity up your own ass that if they were like, well, if you take this medicine, it might turn you orange, they'd be like, oh, also, so I'm just saying. Aku's been researched for quite a while, resulting in a medicine called Tokijikutan. Tokijikutan, yeah. It has a cure rate of about 50%. So, it's like a coin toss? Okay, I was like waiting for it. Now, another medicine called Tokijikutan Ne was developed with a cure rate of 90%. Ne? That must be what they were talking about last night. How wonderful that such a cure was developed. Ah, okay, so the Ne one is the... Okay. That Ne is made using blood from those of the black class. While it boasts a higher cure rate, it's very likely to change the color of the person's skin, hair, and eyes to black. Ah. For example, if you were to take the medicine, your white hair would turn completely black. Which it's gonna do when we fuck, so that'll be fun. That's something the higher color classes can't risk, so I'm not surprised they'd rather die than change their color traits. To them, the black of darkness is an omen of bad luck. I couldn't tell if Kuroba was joking. He was smiling as usual, but that made it even more painful to hear his words. They'd rather die than have their color changed? I didn't know the black class was so despised on this island. She was a yellow, but her color traits changed from disease. Wait, so maybe Masuhana's friend was... I needed to muster a great deal of courage to ask what was on my mind. But now that we were on this delicate subject, I should educate myself while I had the chance. Do you mind if I ask you a question? You know Masahana from Yomi, right? She mentioned her friend's color traits changed from disease. You mean Yusuge, right? She took Ne to survive, but in the end her beautiful golden hair turned black. I see. The changes to black traits vary from person to person. For example, some show the color only along their legs, in which case they just need to wear clothes to cover them. But in her case, it was her hair, which can't be covered so easily. A lot of people purposely dye their hair black. I have very dark hair, and, like, I've dyed my hair black before, and it looks fucking amazing. So, like, listen. I'm just saying. Oh my god, gorgeous, glorious golden hair. Ugh, crappy black hair. I'm sorry. Some of us look better with darker hair. I do not look good with, like, glowing golden hair. Look like a fucking highlighter. I don't know, I just wouldn't look good blonde because I'm very fucking pasty, so it just doesn't work. Anyway. But, you know, when my hair, the color in my hair washes out, I'm basically like this weird yellowy peachy blonde color anyway, so see how much I care? I don't. I don't know whether Yusuge's parents pushed her to take Ne or if she volunteered to take it herself. I saw her once and it wasn't something she could cover up with hair powder or dye. But she had beautiful black hair, if I do say so myself. Yeah, now she's lost her yellow ribbon, which many would die for, and lives in Yomi in the black class, forever to be scorned upon by others. Oh, and live, sorry, in black, yeah. So, and that's the worst part. So, she took this medicine to save her life. She now has black hair, and they were like, oh, toss her in the trash. They revoked her color ribbon because her hair changed color. Like, that's some fucked up shit. Like, this is just disturbing. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so she lost her yellow ribbon, which many would die for, Lives in Yomi in the black class, forever to be scorned upon by others. Yeah, which is sad. While I'm at it, do you know the reason you never see any of the black class on the surface? Oh, wait, you haven't really been around the island much. I guess it wouldn't have dawned on you yet. I braced myself, sensing I was about to hear something upsetting. And the reason is because everyone looks down on them as hideous and evil, so the only place they could find any peace was in Yomi. And so you won't ever find a black district up here on the surface. I was abandoned as a child and raised in the orphanage in Yomi, so I only learned about this when I grew up. I couldn't help but gasp, and that's why Akaza left, because it's a touchy subject. And he's like, I'm just going to step out, because you talking about how everybody hates you and your existence, it's kind of a touchy subject, and you shouldn't have to talk about that in front of people who understand, but also, you know, hey! Stop it! You're just over there screaming, you stop. You stop it right now. You've been good for most of the time, but you're being an asshole right now. You stop it. No comments from the peanut gallery. You simmer down. Stop being a jerk. Yes, you teach your bird how to be better. He's being a dick. Thank you for giving me kisses. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes. I love you. Tell your bird to shut the fuck up. Anyway, I couldn't help but gasp. Abandoned? Yasuga and I were raised here in Yomi, so we're always suspicious of other people. That's so horrible. That young boy, Hayuri, also mentioned that he didn't have any parents. I'm so sorry. Why are you apologizing? I didn't know what I was asking. I'm sorry for bringing it up to you. It doesn't bother me one bit. After bowing my head to him in apology, an odd sense of irritation began to bubble up inside me. Irritation toward my lack of knowledge and irritation toward the discrimination of the black class. What I said isn't written in books or taught at the university. And like I said before, no one wants to talk about the black class. Everyone turns a blind eye to topics about the black or Haku. Or rather, they think it has nothing to do with them. I can't believe them. Unable to hold myself back, I blurted it out without thinking. You're sweet. He suddenly patted me on my head. I could feel his hand through my cap. I'm happy to know you're on our side. Our side? And guys and gals who can't turn a blind eye to it. People who want to change things. Let's say you learn something. You begin to feel unsatisfied with the status quo. And now you're looking to learn even more. To change things. Plenty of stuff to be irate about, right? I gave a light nod. I know this sounds strange, but I feel better seeing someone like you get upset about it. Huh? I'm glad you got to hear the story of the black class. I have a feeling this was Akaza's intention all along. So don't feel sorry or anything. Just accept the facts and expand your knowledge. I'll do that. I was talking to Akaza earlier about the Yellow Noble who contracted Haku. And they requested an effective medicine without the side effects. So that's why they were in a bad mood earlier. As if I could develop it, right? There he goes again. His words had a hint of self-contempt. But now that I learned about what it meant to be a member of the black class, I could see why. See, it's funny though, because the medicine that's using the blood from the black class is the most effective. So it's almost like the people who are in the black class are very immune almost to Haku, but you can't but you know what, at some point it's like, honestly, at some point the way the island should be is like the Ko and the Otsu or like whatever, the people that are, what are they considered again? The people that are thrown into Yomi because, like, poor fucking our little buddy there. I can't remember his name. Anyway, we like we got like blue and black and purple and like green, and you're just like a fucking mix. You're a spotty little mutt. That's so much better. Like, think about it like dogs. Dogs are healthier when they're mutts. Human beings are healthier when they're not inbred. I'm just saying. So, like, that's where you're going with this, is like, and if everybody just accepted it and, like, who cares if your hair is black, whatever, then, hey, cool, look at that. Everyone could be healthy. But no, you want to keep inbreeding and being unhealthy. The blue class is the worst at it, you know what I mean? Like, we have to keep the power of Batsu within the blue class, that we inbreed so much we can't even have children anymore. Like, for fuck's sake, they're gonna wipe themselves out. Yeah, but at the same time, you're like, I mean, if you're gonna be dumb enough to keep inbreeding till you all die out, then all the healthy people that are like, that you treated like shit are gonna be like, it's our island now, bitches! So, just saying. You just have to wait a couple generations for them all to die out. It'll be fine. But now that I learned about what it meant to be a member of the black class, I could see why. If he doesn't want to risk changing his color traits to black, and then he can take his chances with the old Tokijikutan. Tokijikutan. I'm sure the accent in there somewhere is in the wrong place, but whatever. And then again, it doesn't guarantee full recovery. And the longer they delay treatment, the more of his body will be lost. The longer he takes to decide, the closer he'll be to death. And those nobles of the yellow are so stuck up with pride in their color class, they'd rather die than end up in the black class. But then again, I mean, it's not even like... I have an itch behind my ear. It's not even like, okay, well, I'm used to having this glorious golden hair, and then, like, it turns black, and then, like, oh my god, you gotta get used to seeing yourself like that. It's the, I am a noble, I am noble in the yellow class, and I'm so hoity-toity and wonderful, and then I'm going to all of a sudden end up with black hair, and then you're gonna chuck me in the trash. Like, you're completely erasing, it's not like your way of life stays the same, and you just happen to have black hair now. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, so if all of a sudden you woke up with a totally different hair color, it'd be a little weird. You're like, well, that's weird. That's what happens when you age. You go from whatever color to you start going gray, you know? If you woke up one day completely gray, you'd be like, well, this is... gotta get used to this. It'd be an adjustment period, right? But they wouldn't be like, oh, well, you're gray now. We're gonna kick you out and now you're homeless, basically. But that's what they're gonna do to this man. So it's like, I can kind of understand where you wouldn't want that, because it's not like your station in life and where you live and how you live stays the same. You just happen to now have a different hair color. It's, we're going to strip you of everything that was yours and throw you in the gutter. Which is like, maybe if you think that's would be unfair to you and you don't like that, you shouldn't treat the people of the black class like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would not want to wake up and be a member of the black class and be thrown in the gutter. Well, maybe you shouldn't treat them like they're gutter trash then. I'm just saying. I mean, hypothetically, it's being a hat, you know? But anyway. Did he feel hatred toward them? Rightfully so, if he does. Toward those who oppress the black class? You shouldn't say that. Yes, okay. Going to sound like I'm reprimanding Cordoba, but you shouldn't say things like that. I couldn't just ignore what he was saying. I wasn't in a position to lecture him, but I couldn't stand seeing him frown like that. Are you being good now because you were screaming before like a fucking douche? I'm only stating facts. Or are you going to support Lord Doma of the Yellow since he's your guardian? That's not what I meant. But thank you for telling me so many things today. I'll be going to Yomi to check the mail now. Hey, wait. You can come with me? People would rather die than have their color traits turn black. I don't want to blame anyone, but I hate people who think like that. I let out a deep sigh and adjusted my cap. But again, it's not because now my color traits are different. It's you were living a life of luxury and it was stripped away from you and now you're living like a pauper. Nobody would want that. Nobody would want, like, okay, I'm like, oh, sure, if it was like all of a sudden I woke up and now I'm handed a fuck ton of money in this pampered rich lifestyle. Cool. Like, if you were anywhere on any version of the struggle bus, whether it was like the real struggle bus or the moderate struggle bus or like, you know, whatever, any version of any kind of struggle at ever, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, no, you never have to struggle ever again with anything and everything will be handed to you and life will be perfect. Sign me the fuck up. Everyone would be like, okay. But no one would go from like, well, your life is cushy or whatever life you have now, and then make it 10 times worse. Fuck you, no. Nobody would sign up for that. Nobody would want that. You know? So you can't really blame the people of the yellow color class for being like, well, but then all of a sudden it's going to be like, they're going to take everything away. It's not like, again, it's not like your life would continue and you just now have to deal with the fact that your looks changed. Which would already be an adjustment, but like I feel like most people would be able to be like, okay, I have to adjust to this. It's, you know, you have to get over it, and like some people are going to deal with the adjustment better than others. I would not be able to deal with the adjustment very well. I mean, changing hair color is like one thing, but like all of a sudden you woke up in a different body with a different face or something, that'd be fucking hard. You know? Like, that shit would be hard. All right? But then you're just taking everything away from that person. Like, nobody wants that. So I can kind of understand it, but they're not. That's not what we're supposed to think. We're not supposed to think, well, you went from having a life of luxury to, like, now you're basically have nothing. Where you can kind of understand the thought process. You're like, oh, no, it's supposed to be like, well, it's going to be devastating because my hair's going to turn black and I'm going to look like I was of the black. Oh, that's horrible. No, that's stupid. Like, who cares? But that's not the implication. I mean, that's what they're trying to get you to be angry about. But the underlying implication is, again, going from, I have everything to, no, you're going to toss me in Yomi with the prisoners and the trash. That's basically what Yomi is, sadly. Like, we know that Yomi's, like, the people there are great, but, like, that's what the people on the surface think of Yomi as, right? Nobody would want to willingly do that. You know? Like, so, I see where they're going, but also it's like, I kind of feel like, though, you kind of almost make the plight of taking this medicine. It's, again, if it was like, I'm going to take this medicine and I just worried about my looks, brushes my glorious golden hair out of my eyes, and I still get to go on living my life the way I'm currently used to, then they're being douchebags. But look what happened to Yusuge. She was living her happy little life, got Haku, took medicine, and is now shunned and living in Yomi like she's a lesser human being. What? Like, I mean, I don't think she'd have chosen that, so. Well, you know what I mean? To be treated like that, so. Anyway. I let out a deep sigh and adjusted my cap. Suddenly, Kuroba came running toward me. Sorry about earlier. I made you uncomfortable. It's all right. Yeah, but I did the same yesterday, too. He only came here to see us, but I dragged you into my mess. I'm really sorry for making you uncomfortable 2 days in a row. He bowed so deeply I couldn't think of the right words to say to him. Since I started it, let me tell you what I really feel. I told you some would rather die than change. Well, to be entirely honest, I hate people who don't treat life with respect. Maybe it's because of my profession, but I think life is always better than death. Well, sure, life comes with suffering, but even so, we experience it because we're alive. But some don't see things that way, and knowing that just frustrates me, somehow. More than surprise, I felt joy. I was so moved, I wanted to take both his hands in mine. Wouldn't it be so cute if she just did that automatically? He'd be like, what are you doing? Man, we keep going back to the CG a lot, don't we? I'm sure the children are in safe hands if that's how he sees things. As a doctor, he saw life as precious and worked every day to protect the people. Sometimes he was kind, other times he was strict. You know, some folks see black as the source of all evil, so they probably don't want me to cheer them on. I gave a kind but bitter smile. I could let that last disparaging remark go. After all, I can understand his intentions now. I think it's better to be alive, too. You can't do much living when you're dead. You don't know that. There could be life after death. You could be a ghost. And you'd be like, partying, nothing hurts. I can haunt people. Shaking the canisters on their cabinets. You know, just saying. You don't know. Listen carefully and promise me. Promise that you'll find your true love and live as happily as your mother has. I just know the other half of your soul is out there, somewhere in this world. Mother. Anyway, I'm glad I learned something today. Not even my teachers, my governess, or Doma told me anything about what you taught me today. I'll try to do my own research and study what I can, but if there's anything else you wouldn't mind sharing, please let me know. That's a great attitude to have. You're more positive than you look. Excuse me? I'm always trying to stay positive, even though there are some things in the back of my mind. But I can't run at full speed if I'm always looking behind me, right? You really are surprising. I guess your hair isn't the only thing that's pure. What do you mean? You're smart, self-reliant, and have no prejudices against me or the black color class. Which is surprising since I assumed you'd be taught to look down on the lower color classes after living under the yellow's care. I told you before that I rarely ever talked to Doma, and I almost never went outside of the manor. Also, I feel like Doma isn't the, bastard you set him up to be. I mean, I'm sure there's, like, depending on the decade and the century and whatever, the time period that Doma and Jigen and Tokusada all came from. Like, we know Tokusada came from, like, ye olde times, but we don't know about Doma and Jigen because time works weird here, right? In the outside world. But, like, depending on where they came from, yes, there could have definitely been more, like, segregation issues and things like that, where they were like, we're up here and you're down there and whatever. But you don't know where Doma fit in that hierarchy. You know what I mean? So you don't really know what Doma thinks about the color class system. He was adopted into basically the yellow class. He's running this, but you don't know if he's like, they're all scum under my shoes, or he's just like, this is the way it works, okay. And we don't know what kind of, like, you know, Matrix person put them here to, like, as just overseers, and they're, like, Jigen and Doma are back there just like, we just let this island do its shit, and we're here to kind of just step in when needed, but we're just monitoring the situation. They are the government spy drones. They're the birds of this island, okay? They're just here to be government spies. You know? You don't know. We don't know what's happening here. So, like, just because everyone in the yellow is a very bag of dicks doesn't mean that Doma and Jigen really fall into that. You know what I mean? Because they're outsiders. You don't really know where they are. We don't know. We're not supposed to. Because the whole outsider thing is like, you know? Anyway. Yes, being reclusive's actually helped you. Though, it helped me most of all. Huh? Not being able to run at full speed while looking behind you is a great quote. I'll have to write that one down. Also, Sundial of Shame. Write that one down. Well, good luck on finding your husband. Huh? Oh, thank you. Good luck on finding my husband. Felt as if I'd been floating gently in the air, and someone dragged me down to the ground. I can't seem to keep a hold of my emotions lately. I have to stay calm. I looked toward the door of the Kotowari and watched as his white lab coat slipped back inside. He's a good person, right? It's funny because he's probably like, yeah, well, haha, I've been joking around, but thinks like there's no way, you know, because he's of, like, basically the lowest color class of the color classes, aside from the mixed class. Like, those people are basic, but, like, of the quote-unquote pure colors, he's, like, the lowest on the totem pole, so. And he's probably thinking, like, why would the highest marry the... That's not gonna... You're in love with me? What? I mean... Anyway. Oh, our precious little Riku. Oh, sweetie. So naive. Anyway. Good day, Riku. Another beautiful day, isn't it? Good day. I'm glad to see you are well. I know this sounds sudden, but have you encountered any trouble down in Yomi? Everything's fine. You really worry too much about me. The cause of the Kotowari is simply being too lax. We cannot risk having you get into any trouble. I guess that's his way of worrying about me. I love him, though. He is our precious little bean, isn't he? It's like, you just... Oh, you're so naive. You don't know anything. You're so cute. You're so innocent. Sweet and stupid. I mean, like, you're smart, but you're kind of stupid, too. Like, you know? Like, sometimes you're like, you're so smart that you're dumb. I appreciate the thought, but I'm going to continue my deliveries regardless. I'll make sure to be cautious as to not cause you any problems. So as to not cause you any problems, sorry. Do you really understand what cautious means? No. Of course I do! I wouldn't just say it on a whim. Now, will you please let me through? So, she understands. He's like, she understands. He's like, does she though? Tsukiyomi! Yay! Hot grandpa. We don't really know. I mean, he's just been around for fucking forever. He's like our great-great-grandpa. We don't know. I am surprised to see you here. Has something happened? I didn't have any letters to deliver, so I just stopped by to see how you were doing. Also, you shouldn't be surprised since you don't have a guard between here and the bathhouse, and you have no doorbell. Now that you mention it, I have never worried about who would come and visit. Tsukiyomi served me a cup of Iroha flower tea with a smile on his face. Let me guess, you were making another doll just like Camellia, right? I saw a partially made wooden arm on his work desk nearby. Even though I knew it wasn't a real arm, the sight of it was eerie. Tsukiyomi really managed to make it look so real. Maybe we're all just dolls on this island and we're just Tsukiyomi's puppets. I'm just saying. And like several people who are like, and he's like, an outsider showed up here and they're actually real people and we're just puppet people. You don't know. Look, there's some weird shit going on, and I can't wait to find out that none of my crazy theories that I've been saying at all are remotely close to what's happening, and it's either going to be like, oh, well, that's a letdown, or like, well, this is just shit that baffles my brain, and I can't even, like, what? You know? It's either going to be so good it's baffling, or it's just going to be, like, boring. Like, you never know. You come up with all these fun theories, and it's never as cool as you think it is. Like, sometimes you're like, oh, really? That's it? Oh, I came up with some better theories, man. It would have been so cool, and you let me down. And then other times you come up with theories, and then the game is just like so fucking far out there. You're like, holy shit, what were you smoking when you wrote this? I need some of that shit. I don't do drugs, but like, man, I might want to after that, like, whatever you were smoking doing, like, writing this. Holy crap, you know? Just saying. Anyway. No, that is simply a prosthetic arm. It will be used in place of a person's arm lost to Haku. Oh. I have not made many of them recently, as the advancement of medicine has helped to cure the ailment, though it is what I began building them for. I looked at the prosthetic arm again. Hearing his explanation mitigated the eeriness I felt toward it earlier. I took a sip of tea before asking him something. Some say they die rather than turn their color traits black. What are your thoughts on it, Tsukiyomi? Someone in the yellow said that recently after being infected with Haku. I heard there's a medicine called, Tokijikutan. Why could I not? You know what? After we said it several times, now all of a sudden my brain's like, wait, what? Tokijikutan ne, but apparently it also brings about the change in color. You mean the potion made from black blood? Preferring death over being dyed black. I have heard some humans express such a thought. And that is their choice. If that is what they choose, there is nothing for me to say or do for them. Even after making prosthetic arms like that one, I make them for those who seek life even after losing their limbs. I guess it just means everyone is different. It would be rather boring if they were all the same. She's gonna say, I wish everyone would choose life, but you're right, it would be boring. Yep. She's such a good little nugget. You know that's what she was gonna say, come on. I know I'm just being meddlesome, but I wish everyone chose life over death. My dear child, and that wish of yours is also a matter of choice. I suppose. Tokijiku Tanne. And that is the name of the medicine to cure Haku. But do you know how it earned its name? There's a meaning behind it? I did think it was an unusual name. A Tokoyomushi flew by and landed on my hair. Tokijiku no Kagu no Konomi, the elixir of immortality in the old lore. It was named after a prayer to conquer a devastating scourge. I can't. Tokijiku no Kagu no Konomi. How the fuck did that happen? Like, did I just... Look, sometimes. Anyway. I can see why they named it that then. Such a beautiful name. But the ne refers to the hideous black mud found deep beneath dead waters. They named the medicine after hope, and then followed it with something despicable. Humans are incomprehensible. A horrible name to use for a medicine. So, how is your search faring? Huh? Where did that come from? I am worried about you. Worried that the precious blood of Tenyo Island will be lost. I haven't found the right person yet, but don't worry, I won't ever let the white bloodline disappear. I'll find a good husband. Now, if you'll excuse me, thank you for the tea. Like, oh, we were having a nice conversation till you brought that up. Peace out. God damn it, Grandpa. Ugh. Why did I run away from him like that? My shoulders slumped as I gazed at Shinamizu Spring. I haven't forgotten about looking for a husband. It was true that I had put aside the search somewhat. Not to say I was tired of it or anything. Maybe I should head to the plaza. Tanji of the Red suddenly came to mind. I know looking for a husband is important, but delivering letters is also important. With a solid excuse, I decided to go to the Red District instead.
I am so sorry to have you continue coming all this way.
There's no need to apologize. I'd just be happy if you took this letter.
That I cannot do. As I mentioned before, the person who wrote that is dead to me. The dead cannot write letters.
You don't know that.
That thing in Yomi is no longer my son. I do not wish for you to waste your time, so allow me to tear up the letter from the dead.
Tanji tried to take the letter from my hand. I'm not going to give it to you if you're going to rip it up. It's my letter. Give it back. No! I won't let you have it if that's your plan. I also won't return it to your son.
But Lady Olympia...
Maybe he wants to read it. Despite his harsh words, I could see that he was thoroughly distraught. Please take some time to think about it while I hold on to this letter.
I will not read it.
Regardless, I'll take this back with me for now. Please excuse me. Be like, I'll read it to you. I would open it and just follow him. Dear Dad, I'm really sorry about what happened. I hope you're doing well. And he's like, la la la, can't hear you. And you're just like screaming in his ear behind him. Everybody in like, remember that one time where you said this horrible thing about our neighbors? Neighbors right there. Well, there goes another day of not finding any good candidates. I think it's so funny when she was like, I should look for a husband, but like delivering this letter is like also important. And then now she's sitting here like, man, I still didn't find a husband. Girl, you didn't look. Why was I having such a hard time looking for a husband? Because you're not actually looking. Do you mean why am I having a hard time looking for a husband? Or like, why am I having a hard time motivating myself to actually look for a husband? Because those are two different things. It's probably because of a certain person who kept coming to mind. At least he shows up in his route. And there I go again. I felt my cheeks getting hot, but it felt good against the cool breeze blowing in the sunset. Just as I held down my cap against the wind, Kuroba.
Oh, good evening, sis. Alone today? Or are you waiting for someone?
Tokusada walked up to me from behind, waving as he did so. I'm just taking a walk, that's all. You know, checking to see if anything washed ashore.
Do some nice things drift ashore here? All I've ever found were seashells.
I found a bottle with a letter in it right here.
A letter? That's really nice. Oh, by the way, is it true you're engaged to Naguso the Jade?
Huh? Absolutely not. That's a complete lie.
I thought as much. It did come out of the blue.
I can't imagine how troublesome it is to hear that from everyone.
And that's how interested we all are in who you're going to take as your husband.
I try my best to laugh about it.
You know, there's actually been some talk of marriage for me, too. I'm 17 years old, so I'm still not ready to marry. But I figure if the one they're recommending is Olympia, then why not?
You stop it! You stop it! Nobody asked you! Nobody has lines for obnoxious birds. If I have obnoxious, bitchy people in the background, or I need a line for obnoxious brat, I'll ask you. But until then, stop. This is not your time. You're not getting paid for this, so stop. 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 When we need some, like, bitchy chatterboxes, like, oh, listen, there's whiny bitchy ladies or something, then I'll ask for your help. And you can do the whiny bitchiness. But until then, simmer the fuck down. The fuck is your problem? Hi. You just want attention? But then I try to give you attention and you bite and you attack and you're mean. So, like, yeah, what? What's your problem? What the fuck is your problem? You're just being bitchy. You're just being bitchy. Grandma was here for days and you was nasty and mean. And now what? Now you're like, talk to me? What? You were mean to me. Yeah, you were nasty. You were nasty bird. Now you're talking all nice. Why can't you just pretend that I'm talking to you when I'm not actually talking to you? Pretty bird? Did you say pretty bird? Because you are a pretty bird. You're an asshole. Oh, one of these days he's going to be like, goddamn fucking asshole. Which is actually like you. But, you know. You are. You're a goddamn fucking asshole. You're cute, though. What? You gonna be good now? Will you be good now? Hi.
Ah! Jackass. How about it? We both like mint chocolate.
Listen, Tokusada, get the fuck out of here. We already went down your route.
Tokusada? We can get married and enjoy a hot bath and loads of mint chocolate ice cream all day long.
Oh, wait just a moment. I do like mint chocolate, but I don't think that's a good enough reason to get married.
Wait a second. Are you just teasing me? Come on, I wouldn't do that. You know, I drifted here alone as an outsider, right? And there aren't many people on the island I can call a friend. You're about the only real female friend I have. If I'm gonna get married, I'd rather be with someone I can get along with.
There was an air of loneliness around him. His eyes seemed to say that he wasn't trying to seduce me. Rather, they were pleading to me.
Again, already went down your route. Get out of here, Tokasada.
I suppose his concern is something he can't discuss with Tsukuyomi or Lord Jigen. But still, that doesn't mean... I appreciate your sharing your feelings with me, but mint chocolate is really not enough to justify marriage.
And it's not as though, it's not as though we know each other very well yet. And then, should we date first?
Huh?
So we can get to know each other better. We already dated in your route, Tokasada. Get the fuck out of here.
Now, hold on a second. Aren't dates supposed to happen after you get to know someone first? No, that's usually, you go on friend dates and dates to get to know people, so...
No, they're how you get to know someone, right?
I guess Tokasada does have a point, but really? A date? God, I hate this bird right now. He's been so good for so long, and now he's being a little douche canoe. Kinda want to punch him. I'm not gonna, but I want to.
Well, to be entirely honest, I hate people who don't treat life with respect.
Also, the less Tokasada, the better. I can't do his voice. Of all times, I'm thinking of him again. The image of him returned quite vividly to mind. I tried to shake the thought out of my head. I'm sorry, Tokasada. You're a very special friend to me, but I'll have to decline your offer.
It's a no after all? Too bad for me. I'll give up gracefully. Oh, but I really wasn't teasing you at all. It's true that I don't know many people here on the island, so here's hoping we'll still be friends.
He gave a deep bow. Of course, great friends who eat mint chocolate together. I'm sure we'll be friends for a very long time. Exactly, Tokasada pats him on head. Shh, we're just pals. No, you can't come to the man harem. Stay away. What to do? Tokasada thought that rumor about me and Nagusa was real too. At this rate, it may actually become reality.
Because everyone's going to be like, oh, she's engaged to Nagusa, so I guess there's no point in talking to her.
I need to find someone as soon as possible.
Is there anyone you like, Hime?
Daifuku looked at me with a concerned expression. It was probably because he saw me sighing. I should have learned more from my governess about what it means to find a husband. You know, what makes a good husband.
Where's this governess you speak of?
She taught me everything I know about manners and customs, but she passed away.
I see.
What am I saying? I don't have the time to be sighing. I should just do what I can to find a good husband with what I know already. His face came to mind again. No, absolutely not. It can't be the husband I'm looking for. Maybe I can forget about him if I go to sleep. No, you're gonna dream about him. Toss and turn all night thinking about him. The imprisoned fish. The imprisoned fish. God damn, I forget things sometimes.
Lady Olympia, a moment, please.
Oh, is this where we do the whole, like... Oh, is there something you need? Doma's chamberlain hurriedly ran toward me just as I was about to leave the manor.
It's regarding tonight's performance. The master asks that you arrive earlier than usual, regardless of the sun's state.
Understood. Again, you ever get that creepy deja vu? It's just always the same, too. Doma kept his eyes on the solar link he cast and decided when I would perform my rituals. Apparently, the state of the link varied depending on the souls offered, which differed each time in amount and quality. It also seemed that my dance couldn't make any changes to the sun's brilliance in and of itself. I'll be back before nightfall. If you'll excuse me.
Oh, please stay safe.
Lady Olympia! I heard my name called out as I was on my way to the bathhouse. I'm assuming it's Masahana, but maybe not. Oh no, okay. A young man approached me quickly on the main street. He has an envelope with him. His hair was dark blue with a hint of navy. His clothes were simple, but his upbringing was evident from his posture and decorum. He has a mark on his face, just like Kaina. Pleased to meet you. My name is Aohito. Forgive my sudden intrusion. No apology necessary. I'm happy you called to me. Is this perhaps about needing a letter delivered? Didn't we talk about Aohito before? I feel like someone did. Yes. I would like to have this letter delivered to my mother at the Blue. I'd be more than happy to. My mother's name is Aone. I have written the address on the envelope. She lives at number 52 in the Blue District. Isn't she the one that died in the first one? And we went to go deliver the letter to her, and that's when we saw Riku doing his dance? The envelope handed to me was quite thick. I could only imagine how much he had to say to her.
That thing in Yomi is no longer my son.
I could see Tanji's pained expression in my mind. I'm sure it'll be okay. Kanan was happy, so I'm sure things will be fine this time. I do apologize for the inconvenience, and I thank you for your help. You can leave it to me. As I carefully placed the envelope in my bag, he continued speaking with an apologetic expression. And I know it's untoward of me to ask much more, but could you advise me of my mother's state when you return? I have not seen her now for over a year, so I've been rather worried. I can be here for the remainder of the day, so... I understand. I don't have any deliveries to make, so I should be back here this afternoon. Thank you very much. I'll be waiting. I can't believe he's a criminal. I wonder what he did. Maybe he was the other guy that got into a fight with the red dude. Good morning, Lady Olympia. I guess Akaza isn't around today either. Good morning. Could you please review this letter for me today? Certainly. Aone of the Blue. I've heard that name before. Oh, you know her? It feels quite recent, but I can't seem to remember. I'll have to check later. It's gonna be because she died. Thank you. Well, everything looks fine. Good luck with your delivery. I feel like she was the one, because number 52 seems familiar. You know, the letterbox at the bathhouse was empty today. With no other deliveries to do, I headed to the Blue District to deliver Aohito's letter. I hope I don't run into Elder's sister today. Speak of the devil, she's gonna be right there. Not that I didn't like her, but if she asked me how things were going, she would surely find out what feelings I had toward him. Number 50, which means that must be number 52. I stood in front of the address written in fine script on the envelope and proceeded to knock on the door. No one was answering. Maybe she's not home. Or maybe she didn't hear me. Hello? I couldn't hear anything from inside. Anxious, I took a careful look around the house. That's strange. This should be the place, but it doesn't look like anyone lives here. Yeah. The structure was intact, but the door looked dusty. There were weeds growing out of the pavement. He said he hasn't seen his mother for over a year, so maybe she's moved since then. I called out to a passerby to ask. Hello there. Oh, why, if it isn't Lady Olympia, how might I assist you? I came to deliver a letter to number 52. This is the house written here, isn't it? A frown suddenly appeared on his face. Huh. I forced a smile to continue the conversation. What is it? Is there a problem? Well, Aone was recently afflicted with Haku. Unfortunately, the medicine didn't work. She passed away? He quietly nodded and kept his head down in silence. This can't be. What should I say to Aohito? Seeing that I said nothing in response, the man lifted his head and spoke again. Lady Olympia, can you wait just a moment? He opened the door to the now empty home and went inside. Because this is the same thing that happened in Riku's route, I'm pretty sure. Well, we saw him do the dance or whatever, and then we can't. And then, but this whole scenario played out. But I don't remember her talking to Aohito. Maybe she did. I don't remember. But I do remember like this. A short while later, he emerged with an old pocket watch. Can you please give this to Aohito? You can let him know that she was given a proper funeral. The pocket watch had a bluish glass cover with silver dusted across the top. This home will be demolished and burned soon. It's common practice to purify everything that's been in contact with Haku by fire. But I'm sure Lord Hiroko will forgive me for bringing out this one piece. Thank you. I did never want to feel regret over anything I had done. When I started my delivery service, I had high expectations and hope for what I would be doing. Akaza, Kuroba, and Yosuga were all busy, but they were willing to help so I could do my best. But my mother is dead? I gave him the envelope and the pocket watch. Aohito's hands shook as he held them. Or maybe we actually did talk to him, because I also kind of distinctly remember having this conversation. So maybe that's... I mean, I know we've heard his name before. I thought in one of the other routes we heard his name but didn't meet him. But I do feel like, okay, in one of the early... I thought it was Riku's route where we did it, because I feel like it was so long ago. It definitely wasn't Yasuga's route, and I don't think it was Tokasada's. But where we did this exact scenario. So this is definitely deja vu, because I'm like, we did this before once. Not every route, just once. And it's just like, wait. I see. I suppose one is not informed here about the deaths in one's family. Why should I be surprised? I'm an Yomi after all. His forced smile was accompanied by tears in his eyes. I could only stand there unable to say anything. Haku. I'm so sorry I couldn't be of any help. What? Nonsense. You sent word of my mother just as you said you would. Thank you very much, Lady Olympia. I'm afraid I need some time to myself. Now, please excuse me. Aohito squeezed the pocket watch tightly in his hand and hurried off, holding back tears. The thing is he never would have known at all if he hadn't been able... And you know what? The fact that he never would have even been able to write a letter. So he had some... I mean, unfortunately, we broke his hope. But he had some hope, like, oh, I can write a letter to my mother. And then we told him his mother passed away, but otherwise he never would have known. You know, and he always would have wondered. I mean, yes, you would have thought, my mom's out there living happily. But sometimes it's better to know than wonder. Like, you know? Because there would be a certain point where you'd be like, my mother's elderly now. You know, is she sick? Is she okay? Like, what happened to her? You know? It's kind of almost better to know than to wonder forever. Sure, in this situation, you could convince yourself she is happy on the surface and living a happy, wonderful life. And she's not, but, you know. I guess it really depends on the situation, but sometimes knowing is better. Another letter that didn't arrive at its destination. The only letter that actually reached its recipient was Kaina's. I started this wanting to do what I could, but did I really make the right choice? Standing here wasn't going to bring Aohito back. But I couldn't bring myself to go anywhere else, leaving me to gaze up into Yomi's sky. What can I possibly do? Hey, what's the matter? Got a stomachache? Huh? I turned around at his voice, then suddenly regretted it. He could see my face on the brink of tears. What happened? Did someone do something to you? I'm just regretting what I've been doing. I can't seem to get the letters delivered at all. What do you mean? I had a letter for someone in the Blue District, but it seems she died from Haku recently. I wasn't able to deliver the letter to her. I knew it wasn't my fault, but I couldn't keep myself from expressing my thoughts. If I started my delivery service sooner, then maybe I could have delivered the letter while she was still alive. Even if she wasn't in the best of health, maybe I could have delivered it in time for her to read it. The envelope was really thick. I'm sure there was a lot in there that he wanted her to read. Another letter was refused because the father said his son was dead to him. I've completely failed at my job. Miss, do you have any other plans for today? Plans? No, nothing really. How about coming to my lab for a cup of tea? Tea? I raised my eyebrow at his sudden invitation. Your toenails hurt my... You're standing on my... Ow! You go away. You go away. You bit too hard. That's not nice. Only I don't have any tea cakes. If you'd like something sweet, I'll buy it along the way. What you mean? You play with your bird friend. Because he's a jerk and he's screaming and he wants attention. And you're mean. You bit me. I don't like that. I couldn't resist my curiosity. I'd been to the Kotowari a number of times, but never inside Cordoba's lab. Are you sure we didn't need to buy any sweets? I really don't have much to offer here. Thank you, but I didn't just follow you here for a free meal. I see. Step right in. Going out into the world brought me many surprises, but this place turned out to be the most intriguing of them all. There were things here I had never seen before. What are these things with these pages inside? I'm just kidding. She knows what books are. Ibisaro was really an impressive sight, but all the devices here were still in use. Look at all these huge books and those medicines. Glad you like the place. Plenty of things a healthy girl like you wouldn't know about, right? The place is incredible. Do you use all these tools for your checkups? And these are more for research. Some test tubes, microscopes, measuring devices. I recognize those. Those are the test tubes, and those are the microscopes, right? Oh, I see you've been studying. Good. Well, this is the first time I've actually seen them in person. Wait, don't you sometimes carry test tubes with you? I do. They come in handy for taking samples. Why don't you take a look in the microscope? The microscope? Are you sure? I accepted his offer and took a peek. On the transparent slide was a single butterfly wing. Why? The pattern on the wing looks so large. Interesting, right? You can increase the magnification by changing the lens. Lens? So this has nothing to do with Lady Amaterasu or Lord Hiriko's powers? Nope. Humans made it. Humans? His words stuck in my mind very clearly. It worked not because of Lady Amaterasu or Lord Hiriko, but because it was made by humans. Or are you the type who believes that every bit of good in this world is because of Lord Hiriko or Lady Amaterasu? That's a rude thing to say. Of course not. No. Yeah, of course not. Okay. Of course not. Yeah, no, anyway. Not even I see it that way. I see. Good to know we think alike. Well, feel free to look around. I'll brew us some tea in the meantime. I gave a small smile and turned my attention to the paraphernalia around me. Huh, this fish. Could this be what people call a specimen? I read about things like these before. I thought bones were white. Blue, purple, reddish purple. The jars of specimens were all beautiful, as if they were made from show. I saw fish, insects, and even bird specimens. Sorry for the wait. The sight of the cup in front of me reminded me that I came here to have a drink with him. Thank you. I slowly took a sip of the hot tea, and its floral aroma immediately calmed my mind. It's so good. I learned from Yosuga, so the tea I serve here is pretty close to his own blend. It does taste similar. Maybe I should ask him for the recipe, too. And just come here if you want tea. Huh? Cordoba's eyes narrowed as he took a sip from his cup. You see, I came to the Kotowari because I wanted to make medicine that could cure Haku without the side effects. I nearly dropped my cup. I quickly set it down on the table to listen to what he had to say. It's not easy doing research at the hospital because they're all so hard-headed. But the Kotowari is led by an equally hard-headed director who doesn't allow external influences to affect my work. If I'd managed to develop that medicine sooner, maybe that mother in the blue wouldn't have died. It was then I finally realized he was trying to cheer me up. Unfortunately, most deaths on this island come from Haku. 3 times as many of those from injuries or other from other injuries or other conditions. 3 times as many as those from injuries or other conditions. My God, I can't read. I know it must have been tough, not being able to complete your deliveries, but you don't need to feel bad about it. I wanted to say something, but I wasn't sure how to word it. My gratitude was more than I could express with words alone. Tatsuki came to me in Akaza earlier to apologize. He said he finally remembered that he saw the name Aone on a death certificate. He was sorry he couldn't remember it sooner. Aone of the Blue. I've heard that name before. It was out of his usual domain, so could you forgive him? Forgive him? I'm sorry he feels the need to apologize at all. It may be no consolation, but the higher the color class, the greater the odds of them contracting Haku. I guess it can't be helped, since the people in the higher color classes are more susceptible to death. I don't remember who was saying that, so whatever. Would you mind telling me more about that? Why are they more susceptible than others? The clinical records at the hospital seem to prove it beyond a doubt, but of course the primary classes won't accept it as fact. As for the reason, let's see, I guess it's like how weeds are stronger than plants grown in a controlled environment like a greenhouse. As far as looks go, the higher color classes are praised for their unblemished beauty, right? But when you look at how humans work, having a mix of blood tends to actually make them stronger. Really? The more varied the color traits in the lower classes, the stronger they are. And that immunity helps protect the body from various infections and diseases. In other words, these colors so pure and beautiful to them result in weaker bodies. A flood of thoughts came over me. Pure colors were weak, and mixes of colors were strong. Okay, hi, yeah. Perhaps this was a quality at work. I heard most leaders die from Haku. Yeah, it's true. Lord Hagane of the yellow, Lord Akon of the blue, Lord Sozan of the orange couldn't be saved by medicine. Oh, and Lord, sorry. Akon, the previous leader of the blue, and Shura's husband, who died from Haku. Sozan, the previous leader of the orange, who died from Haku. His son, Kanan, succeeded him. Also, Kain is also his son, but, he was tossed to the yellow, because whatever. I'd love to say Lord Jigen and Lord Doma have lived a long time, but they're outsiders. I doubt they have the same kind of bodies as we do. For Yusuge, the yellow noble, and the mother from the blue, I can only say it was bad luck. There's no sure way of preventing Haku. You can't escape it, even if you wanted. You remember how I told you before that Haku happens spontaneously in the living? And someone healthy could develop... can't pronounce that, along with a white mold on the skin. Is it just hematitis? Because there's a P silent? Sometimes the T is silent, and those you don't say pterodactyl, right? So it's hematitis, I guess? Anyway. We're gonna go with hematitis! I don't know. A medical condition where blood bleeds into the respiratory system and is coughed up from the body. Oh, God! That sounds fun. Thanks. Along with a white mold on the skin. Ugh. It varies from case to case, but if Tokijikutan is administered in the early stages, they had a 50% chance, and 90 with Nay. As it progresses, the patient's skin undergoes necrosis, losing its color and eventually rotting off. A patient in this state is highly contagious. In the terminal stage, the chances of any drugs how do you say that? But anyway, are much lower. All you can do is wait as the patient rots to death. That's so gross. Ugh. It's like flesh eating! Hearing his description made me wince. And the doctors of this island have been trying to find a complete cure for Haku for ages. It sounds like... There's so many other things that it sounds like. We have a lot of things in, our world that were similar, Like, oh, that! Flesh-eating bacterias, like leprosy, all these things, You just fall apart. Gross. Zombieism. It's the zombie virus, We analyze medical literature that's drifted ashore and tried every means, even with the slightest chance. Every single thing. To be honest, our research has nearly come to a dead end. Huh, a dead end? So it can't be completely cured. The hospital's conclusion is that without any new methods or materials, we won't be able to make any breakthrough in finding a cure. We are just a controlled fucking island that the government set up to research weird diseases. They're like, let's give them this and be like, see if they can find a cure. They can't. Haha, it's the best biological weapon. They can't figure it out. With all the modern technology we keep, washing ashore over there. Which is why I'm trying to find the cure myself. Look, I don't know. There's some weird shit going on. How the hell is Tokusada only been here for a few years, but came before there were even carriages, and he's like, what is this? A horse is pulling a buggy behind? Wow, fancy. And yet, then we got a letter from 2021. I'm just saying. Welcome. Are you here for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I don't know why that one keeps coming up. That's just pointless, but... In particular, Lord Kuroba practically lives in the laboratory. Wait. He's been trying to find the cure for Haku all this time? I know we're way over, but This is what happened in Yosuga's route. We were the second it starts, we got 5 or 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes later, we're still here. If so, my view of him was in danger of changing completely. I gulped down the tea, suddenly realizing that my throat was strangely parched. Feeling hot and feverish again. Maybe I should get some medicine. get medicine from... I couldn't seem to look at him directly. All I could do was peek at him drinking his tea. He checks on all the children at Yomi and is searching for a cure for this disease. Yet he's always teasing and playing around with me. He's just a good fucking wonderful person, Jesus. So much I still don't know about him. But he's handsome and charming. And kind. I mean, and the teasing thing is sexy, I'm just saying. Oh, I'm not trying to pressure you, but I'm looking forward to seeing the cure developed. Please do your best for everyone, so that they can be saved. I expressed my honest feelings and bowed my head to him with respect. Your words are all I need to keep me going. My cheeks were starting to sting. I could feel my heart beating madly, and I began to feel a bit dizzy. I didn't want to talk to him anymore, and at the same time, I wanted to talk to him as long as possible. That's the play right there. I'm not making any sense. Wasn't sure what was happening to me. I looked at the specimen from earlier. I decided to change the subject in the hopes that I could get my mind and body to cool down. Can I ask you something else? That's a specimen there, isn't it? Do you use it for your research? I carefully picked up the blue and purple fish specimen. Partly, but it's also my pastime. Pretty, right? They're all so vivid and beautiful. How do you make them? After I dye the bones, I place them in a special transparent culture. I gently shook the small jar in my hand. The fish skeleton looked like it was suspended in water, but shaking the jar didn't budge it. Isn't this a Moorish idol? Moorish idol, a fish that lives in the ocean near Tengu Island. It has a flat body, a protruding mouth, and a long dorsal fin. The white, black, and yellow bands on its body lend to its unique appearance. It is. I'm surprised you can tell. I love swimming with them back on Tenyu Island. Kuroba looks very perplexed. Specimen. They're really beautiful, but it's sad to know that I can't swim with this beauty again. Are you angry that I made that poor old Moorish idol into a specimen? Not at all. I'm not angry in the slightest. But how can I phrase this? I would never again swim freely in the ocean. It would never again swim in front of my eyes. Seeing it in the jar like this makes it look like it's imprisoned. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to blame you or anything. You're right about it being imprisoned. His response was unexpected. I looked at the Moorish idol specimen again. It lost its ability to swim, but now it doesn't have to worry about Haku. It can remain beautiful forever without ever turning black. Fish are susceptible to Haku too? I've been doing all kinds of research. You never know where you can find a miracle cure. I've sampled all sorts of flora, fish of course, blood and skin, animal entrails, you name it. I see. It wasn't anger at all. I suppose loneliness was the closest word to describe the feeling. Have you ever swum among them before? I admit I like to have a drink while looking at the ocean, but I haven't gone swimming myself. It feels really nice. You should try it. If you're lucky, you might be able to swim with different kinds of fish. That sounds fun and all, but throwing a novice like me out there is irresponsible, isn't it? I'm gonna need a lifeguard. How about we go to the beach together then? It's like I was eyebrows slightly raised right there, like, huh? I guess your islander blood makes you like the ocean. Yes, I love the ocean. I haven't had many opportunities to swim since I got here, though. If you'd like, I can show you the Moorish idols. All right, then, let's go now. Wait, I need to get ready first. As in a bathing suit? Well, Tsukiyomi told me that I need to wear one when I swim out in public. Yasuga also told me last time I shouldn't expose myself to anyone besides the person I...
A word of advice. From this day forward, never expose yourself like this except in front of the man you love.
I wasn't sure why his advice was making me blush beyond belief. What's the matter? What did he say to you? Nothing at all. You wait at the beach while I go and get ready. Running again. She really is different from when she's on stage. I think I'll ask Yosuga later. Said not to expose yourself, so I mean, it's just like, he's like, okay, what? Anyway, now this part's like way over, but that's okay. So I'm gonna stop here and we'll continue in the next part. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.